close passage. Skim the entire passage so we have an idea of what words we need to choose. Yeah. For a passage like this, you shouldn't take more than a minute. Let's look at the first one. If India is dashed to the top in badminton for both men and women, something we have never achieved, it is an occasion to be celebrated. Options: touring, riding, drifting, driving, traveling. Okay. From the given options, we can say logically, we have to remove A and E. Touring and traveling doesn't make sense. Drifting also doesn't make sense, right? Drifting, what is to drift? Like, you're listening to me and then your thoughts are drifting away, which means you're thinking about food, right? Or you're just thinking about plans for the night or maybe tomorrow or whatever, right? Drifting. So that's not the meaning the context is giving. I have to choose between riding and driving. If India is driving to the top or riding to the top, what's the logically driving to the top doesn't give me the context. Is look at the context. The context saying if India is dashed to the top in badminton for both men and women, something we have never achieved, it is an occasion to be celebrated. So we're talking about again something on a high, right? Something that we've never achieved. So think of something fast paced. Think of something on an accelerated mode. What will you choose? Will you choose riding or driving? Right? I mean, both can go on accelerated mode, but usually, right, in a context, in fact, riding to the top is an expression. I wouldn't say it's a collocation because not a lot of them know it, but riding to the top means riding to the top. Yeah, that's our answer actually. So when you say something is, what can I say? Riding to the top, what you actually are looking at is in terms of, something on a high gear. Yeah, we're talking about something that is happening or developing in a particular way. And in this context, riding to the top as an expression, that is more appropriate. Option B. I'm guessing a lot of you are not familiar with this expression, right? Driving to the top really doesn't give me that connotation of accelerated action. Moving on, choose the appropriate word for 2. So in 1980, Prakash Padukone dash our greatest badminton. Options, however, being probably, perhaps, unlikely. This is the most easiest option I would say. Yeah, it has to be probably, right? Because we don't want anything that is bringing some sort of a doubt, which is all the other ones. However is contradicting, can't be that. Perhaps, meaning again, perhaps always brings the meaning of there is a possibility, but we're saying he is one of the greatest badminton players, right? Unlikely again can't be, it has to be probably, it can't be A, no? So in 1980, Prakash Padukone, probably he must have been, right, one of our greatest badminton player, won. And look at the context, it's giving us a positive context. He won the Danish, Swedish and the All England Opens. So obviously I cannot bring in a negative or contradictory word. I will eliminate option A. In fact, that will be the first option that I will eliminate. So where are we? So it cannot be anything else, right? It has to be probably. Let's move on. Unsurprisingly, he's one of the 2 coaches who have changed. And look at the whole context. It's talking positive about him. He's one of the 2 coaches who have changed Saina's game for the better. The world has changed for Indian sports. Globalization has, I'm saying in 1980, Padukone received the award. He must have been one of the greatest players, right? So how can it be being, how can I bring in a present continuous tense there? Doesn't make sense, no? Tense issue, grammatically I can't use being, okay? Now, globalization has options: cured, helped, advised, comforted, handed in better training along with the best in the world. What can it mean? The world has changed for Indian. Globalization has, logically what can it mean? Okay, the following context will help you with identifying the option for this blank 3. Can you read the following context? Tell me what the clue word is. See, if I have to use my own word in that blank, I will say, boss, globalization has contributed in terms of better training along with the best in the world. And the next context saying the entry of corporate sponsorship has helped every game. Helped is our answer. Not cured, not advised, not comforted. Why would you even think of option D, comforted? That's a completely different word, no? I cannot apply it in this context at all, boss. What is the meaning of hand in as a phrasal verb? Hand in. It's like I was doing some assignment work and I handed it in, giving it in, reporting, submitting. That's not the meaning the context wants, right? Look for, understand what the context is, right? And somebody said option E, handed. No, handing in something means submitting as a phrasal verb. Look up hand in as a phrasal verb, what meaning it brings. That's not the meaning we need in this context. Globalization has helped in better training along with the best in the world. Let's move on. India was known to have been a single sport country. See, no wonder, even if it seems easy, this passage, but we still have people making mistakes. Why? Because you're not understanding the context meaning. You're not looking at options and seeing words before and after the blank, right? It helps in forming collocations. Handed in, hand in, phrasal verb. What is the meaning? I'll have to relate to things like that. I have to apply all my knowledge for one blank in a close passage, right? Moving on, India was known to have been a single sport country defined by cricket. The fortunes of players like Tendulkar were made by the tons of cash that dash into the game. After our World Cup victory in 1983, I'll give you a clue. Yeah, so what are my clue words for the options? See, I already have different answers for blank 4. Some people are saying C, some people are saying A. See, what are my clue words? The fortunes of players like Tendulkar were made by the tons of cash. So cash is a clue word, right? That dash into. Cash dash into. This is another clue word for you. Look for a word that will go with into. Look for a word that will connect or associate with into, which means I'm looking for a collocation. So will it make sense if I said flowed into, discharged into, flooded into, moved into, or outflowed? That's another clue, right? That's why I pointed out cash as a clue, which means what? Cash flow. Yes, that's another collocation for you. See, when I say flooded, I don't need into again. It's redundant in meaning. Flooded itself means something that is coming in a large volume, right? I already have that in meaning factored into flooded. I can't say flooded into. Incorrect collocation. Grammatically incorrect. Superfluous in meaning. So sorry. Cash flow, the tons of cash that flowed into the game after our World Cup victory. Flow into is another phrasal verb. So flowed, A. Let's move on. Last blank. Reading. India now has leagues for hockey, football and kabaddi. Besides cricket, a new segment is flourishing in the entertainment industry. After decades of stagnation, if the times are changing for Indian sport, let it dash and get the kids out to play. What are my options? What about outflow? You tell me. Outflow again is something overflowing, right? An outflow can be some sort of a discharge, right? An outflow can be some sort of a discharge. Yeah, it depends on the context again. It can bring in different meanings for me. An outpouring of something. Yeah, so flood, right? There are different meanings based on the context. Where are we? Fifth blank. Let's look at the fifth blank. Choose the appropriate word for, so after decades of stagnation, if the times are changing for Indian sport, let it, definitely I need a positive word, right? Because the context is saying, get the kids out to play. After decades of stagnation, if the times are changing, so they're saying, boss, there's a period where there's inactivity, the focus was only on cricket, but now they have explored, they've experimented, they moved on to, other sports are gaining importance in India. So after stagnation, if the times are changing, then for Indian sport, then let's ensure that it is on a roll. That's an expression again. To be on a roll is to be, have you heard informally people say, so let's say you're planning for a party or an event, and then somebody says, okay, let's roll, which means let's get to it, let's do this, right? That's what it means. As an expression, it's a very informal expression, let's roll, right? And not a lot of Indians use it because they don't know. Yeah, but that's the meaning. So here, and get the kids out of play. So I can obviously eliminate all my negative options, which is stagnate, shrink, and turn just doesn't make sense. And whirl, to whirl. What is to whirl? Yeah, we're not talking about dance moves here. So whirl is not an appropriate word. Let's roll. That's the word. Right? We're talking about a transition. Right? Outflow is overpouring, outpouring. That's a difference, right? Very simple. The words itself explain. If you want to understand the meaning of words, put it in a context. Simple. You will understand the meaning of words. It's not a very difficult word, right? Both these words. You just have to put it in context to figure out the meaning.